Jonathan Livingston Seagull wasn't like the other seagulls. He wasn't content with just surviving. Jonathan yearned for more than simply finding scraps of food and fighting for survival. He didn't understand why the other seagulls didn't want to fly higher, faster, and with more grace. His heart soared with the dream of pushing his limits, of feeling the wind beneath his wings in a way no seagull ever had before. Every day, Jonathan would wake up with a burning desire to perfect his flying. He would watch the waves crash against the shore, imagining them as mountains of air he could soar over. He would gaze at the clouds, dreaming of dancing among them with effortless ease. Jonathan knew deep down that there was more to life than just existing. There was a whole world of possibilities waiting to be explored, and he was determined to discover them. His parents, however, worried about his constant flying and unusual fascination with the art of flight. They urged him to focus on finding food and blending in with the flock. "Why can't you be like the other seagulls, Jonathan?" his mother would ask, her voice filled with concern. "Flying is just a means to an end, to find food and survive. Why do you push yourself so hard?" But Jonathan couldn't ignore the yearning in his heart. Flying wasn't just about survival for him, it was about freedom, self-expression, and reaching his full potential. He knew that he was destined for something greater than an ordinary seagull's life. The other seagulls in Jonathan's flock spent their days focused on the essentials of survival. Finding food, fighting off rivals, and conserving energy were their main priorities. They didn't understand Jonathan's fascination with pushing the boundaries of flight. To them, flying was simply a way to get from one place to another, a means to an end. Jonathan's parents would often chide him for his reckless flying. "Jonathan," his father would scold, "you're going to hurt yourself with all this fancy flying. What good is speed if you have no energy left to find food?" But Jonathan couldn't help himself. He was driven by an insatiable curiosity to explore the limits of his own abilities. One day, Jonathan discovered a new flying technique. He practiced it over and over again, determined to master it. He would soar to breathtaking heights, then plummet towards the ocean at incredible speeds, pulling up just in the nick of time. The other seagulls watched in a mixture of fear and disapproval. "He's going to kill himself," one seagull squawked. "What's the point of all that?" Another chimed in. But Jonathan was undeterred. He had found something he was truly passionate about, and he was determined to become the best he could be, even if it meant being different. Jonathan's journey was not always easy. He faced many setbacks, crashing into the water more times than he could count. His wings ached, his body screamed for rest, but his spirit remained unbroken. Each failure, each clumsy landing only strengthened his resolve. There were times when he felt like giving up. The loneliness of being different, of not being understood by his own kind, weighed heavily on him. The other seagulls ridiculed him, calling him a dreamer and a fool. But Jonathan refused to listen to their negativity. He would retreat to a secluded cliff, nursing his wounds and replaying his flights in his mind, analyzing his mistakes. He realized that mastering flight wasn't just about flapping his wings harder. It was about understanding the air, the wind, and his own body. It was about precision, control, and pushing his limits just a little bit further each time. And so, Jonathan persevered. He practiced tirelessly, honing his skills with each passing day. He learned from his mistakes, embraced the pain of failure, and emerged stronger and more determined than ever before. Section 4. A Guiding Wing. The Mentor and the Transformation. One evening as the sun began to set, casting long shadows across the ocean, Jonathan noticed two seagulls flying high above him. Their movements were unlike anything he had ever seen before. Effortless, graceful, and incredibly fast. Intrigued, he decided to follow them. As he flew closer, he realized that these were no ordinary seagulls. Their eyes held a wisdom that spoke of countless hours spent mastering the art of flight. One of the seagulls, with feathers as white as snow, turned to Jonathan and spoke in a kind, gentle voice. "Hello, Jonathan," he said. "We have been watching you. You have a rare spirit, a true passion for flight." Jonathan was astonished. For the first time in his life, he had found others who understood his yearning, who saw his potential. The older seagull introduced himself as Sullivan and explained that he and his companion were part of a flock that lived for the joy of flying, for pushing the limits of what was possible. Sullivan took Jonathan under his wings, so to speak. He taught him the secrets of speed, the art of gliding, and the importance of precision in every movement. Jonathan learned that true flight was not just about physical ability, but about understanding the invisible forces that governed the air and using them to his advantage. Section 5. The Art of Flight Beyond Speed and Survival. Under Sullivan's guidance, Jonathan's world expanded. He discovered a whole new dimension to flying. It wasn't just about going fast, it was about precision, control, and expressing oneself through movement. Jonathan learned to harness the wind to ride the currents with effortless grace. He discovered the joy of soaring to unimaginable heights and the thrill of diving towards the ocean at breathtaking speeds. He realized that flying was a form of art, a way to connect with something greater than himself. Jonathan spent hours practicing with Sullivan, pushing himself further and further. He learned to control his speed, to turn on a dime, and to perform aerial maneuvers that would have made the other seagulls faint with fear. But more importantly, he learned to fly with joy, with a sense of freedom he had never experienced before. "Jonathan," Sullivan said one day, as they soared high above the clouds, "you have a gift. You have the potential to be one of the greatest flyers the world has ever seen. But remember, true mastery comes not from power or speed, but from understanding. It's about pushing your own limits and discovering the true meaning of flight." Section 6. Return of the Outcast Inspiring a Flock. As Jonathan honed his skills, a longing began to grow in his heart. He missed his flock, the familiar faces, even the ones who had ridiculed him. He realized that he couldn't keep this newfound knowledge to himself. He had to share it, to show the other seagulls that there was more to life than just surviving. So Jonathan returned to his flock. At first they were wary of him, unsure of what to make of this changed seagull who had once been an outcast. But as Jonathan began to demonstrate his newfound skills, they watched in awe and amazement. He flew with a grace and precision they had never witnessed before. Jonathan gathered the young seagulls around him and shared his knowledge. He taught them the techniques he had learned from Sullivan, encouraged them to push their own limits, and emphasized the importance of pursuing their dreams. He explained that true happiness came not from conformity, but from striving for excellence, from discovering the unique potential that lay within each of them. Section 7. The Sky's the Limit. A message of hope and aspiration. Jonathan Livingston. Seagull's story is a timeless reminder that we're all capable of achieving great things if we dare to dream big and are willing to put in the effort to make those dreams a reality. It's about embracing our individuality, pursuing our passions, and never giving up on ourselves, even when faced with adversity. Like Jonathan, we all have the potential to soar to new heights, to break free from the confines of our comfort zones and discover the limitless possibilities that lie beyond. The sky is not the limit when there are footprints on the moon, so spread your wings, embrace the unknown, and never stop reaching for your dreams.